Well, onto the football world. Are you preparing yourself to be surprised by what could come from the portal as far as Nebraska is concerned, or is this? Are you on like, portal's not going to be that big of a deal this time around for Nebraska?
I'm never like that, but I'm. I haven't heard anything to suggest that anybody that would leave would just shock the heck out of us. I don't think. I guess I'm more interested in. I'm more interested in who they might bring in, although I don't even know that we're going to see much on that front, if anything. So I'm not anticipating. This is the kiss of death, obviously, but I don't even want to say it because you'll replay it if something happens. But I don't anticipate anything major happening.
Yeah, in a way. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, not as far. Josh, I'm sorry to interrupt. Not as far as Nebraska players going into the portal.
But that maybe so the bigger, or would it be the lesser surprise would be if they added somebody from the portal, but you're not expecting any big names to enter, if I'm understanding you.
Not enter, and you never know about coming in. I don't see anybody going out where we'll be like, oh my God. Now that's subject to interpretation. Some people might react like that to somebody, but I don't think it's going to be anything major.
Do you know, Sip? I know that the Nico Iamaleava story has been one that you have talked about this week. You've written about it. I think you wrote about it in your weekend column. That Nebraska, what are they doing maybe to not allow something like this to happen here? Or is it just one of those situations where it's going to happen at some point in time? They'll cross that bridge when they come to it.
That's a good question, Josh. I don't know that you can't. I don't know exactly what you can do. I mean, there's probably some mechanisms contractually that could dissuade this or just cut it off. I don't know that because hey, I'm like you guys. Well, I assume you guys are like me, and you don't even really understand the contractual obligations.
Correct.
On side, it's hard. Who would? It's not public. You hear anecdotal pieces of information, and that's about it. I think it kind of comes down to what we always say about the acquisition of players. You recruit the kind of player you want in your program. You recruit character to a certain degree, to a large degree. You recruit and you recruit guys that will be team oriented. And understanding, of course, that people are flawed, and in some cases, as in this one, the people around them are flawed, and so you can't control everything, but you can really help yourself in that regard by recruiting people that wouldn't do something like this to their teammates.
And that's why in the speed dating world that is the portal. I was listening to when Matt Rule was talking, I think it was 2 press conferences ago, or maybe it was the last one, where he talked about trust, and as long as I'm giving you accurate information and you're being honest with me, that's how you can avoid some of these surprise portal entries. But when you're going out there and in many cases that portal's only open so long and you never know when another team's going to go out and sign somebody, you're speed dating essentially, and it's hard to build trust when you're speed dating. So it makes you wonder if the best portal acquisitions are the ones that have 1 year of eligibility left, where going in, hey, I got this dude for 1 year, he's a rental, and that's it, versus going out and trying to find a 2 or a 3 or a guy with multiple years left, because those are the ones where you just don't know and you don't have the time to build that trust.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It's not the perfect world, what you're laying out there, but yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for an understanding that this is not, John, it's not even a year usually. It's more like 6 or 7 months. Like O'Shawn Mathis was here for how long? 6, 7 months? I mean, that type of player that you're talking about. Now, trust, this is why I love coming on with you guys. Because the discussions can be very nuanced. I think there was a high degree of trust between Heupel and Nico. I don't think that was an issue at all. They had a great relationship. And I know I'm not speaking out of turn here. I know that, I know people that understand it. I read about it. Those guys had a great relationship. So trust doesn't even necessarily guarantee that it's going to be, amicable and that there's not going to be something weird that happens like this. It helps, maybe it helps, but it doesn't ensure anything because Heupel and Nico, there was trust, but there was also greed, and there's also just, and that sounds judgmental, and it is. And I also understand that there's this. We all have to do it in this world. You have to get all you can, and that's kind of what I think the family was. Nico's dad and his representation was like. I think the mentality was we got to get all we can here, and they went a little bit too far with that. And the only reason I say greed, and that's again, it's just because isn't 4 years and $8 million, isn't that enough? I mean,
that's a lot.
Yeah, it seems like a lot for a guy, especially for a guy who's not necessarily elite. So yeah, that's where I stand.
And he was in high school when they did it. I mean, so you were paying. It's not like, I mean, at least when you're going to the NFL, you've seen a guy for 4 years in college, and so you kind of have an idea what you're getting. Sure, it's not a perfect scenario. Not every number one draft pick is a great player, but at least there's more data there. You're talking about a high school kid, and you're doling out that kind of money.
Well, here's the thing. I think one thing that doesn't get maybe you guys have seen this. I haven't seen it discussed much. Why is Nico so? Why did he command that? That sort of, I will call it salary, I guess.
It is
because of what it's because of his high school rating.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why if I were counseling players, I'd say, hey, you can make a lot of money while you're in high school. It's not going to come. Maybe it's not going to come until you sign with somebody. But Nico made his money essentially in high school. That's where, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the number 2 ranked quarterback in his class. Ask Dylan Raiola about being the number 1 or number 2 ranked quarterback in your class and what that could mean financially.
Yeah.
You're a millionaire. You become a millionaire at that point. So Nico earned that money not at Tennessee. He earned it in high school.
Sip, you said a word there that I wanted to ask you about as it pertains to a Husker player. You said elite a few minutes ago, and the title of your column this morning was Nebraska coaches express great confidence in Emmett Johnson. Is he poised to become a truly elite back? What, in your mind, would elite look like? What is an elite running back for Nebraska football in 2025 in terms of numbers?
Oh, in terms of numbers, well, I'll tell you, me and John can tell you what elite looks like. You can to a certain extent, but at our age, we know elite when we see it. John and I have that.
Dang right.
We know you're old. I get it. I'm talking about now, old man.
That was the old man noise I love. Elite, a minimum of 1,200 yards, and probably in the 5.4, 5.5 or above yards per carry. Really important in that discussion. I know where people are thinking right now, is he going to get enough attempts? I think my reaction to that is always this. If you're good enough, you're going to get attempts. All right? They're not going to – if you're getting 5-6 yards of crack and you're taking over games, Holgerson's not going to say, hell, I got to get the ball to Keith. No, they'll run you. Just they'll if you get in a rhythm, and again, I know what people are going to say, well, they don't allow them to. If you're good enough, you'll get that carry, and you'll get enough attempts to get 1,000. It's not. I don't hang that always on coaches. You just got to show that you're reliable enough and you're elite enough to deserve those number of carries.
You wrote that you think that the gap right now between Emmett and Quentin Ives is sizable.
Sizable, yeah.
Would you categorize that more as good news because Johnson is that much better,
Good question.
or bad news because the depth isn't there. And we know even if you got one really good back, you still need to have that depth.
First of all, I hope I'm wrong. I mean, this is somewhat
right. I know.
It's somewhat based on what I saw last year, but just the way that the discussion is, the way that they talk about, say, the coaches talk about the back, and then also experience. I mean, Emmett's just got a lot more experience. So to answer your question, good news or bad news, I'd say more bad. You don't want that big of a gap, and that's a good question. And I don't know how else to answer it except being genuine about it. No, I don't like the gap that at least I perceive. I wish there was a back there. I wish it was more like Nebraska. They've had it where there wasn't an appreciable difference as there is a number of carries. Hey, I mean, what I'm talking about is Quentin Ives ran 6 times for 7 yards last year. Okay, that's a big gap between his production and the number one guy's production, who had 900. I'm going to say 8 all-purpose yards, something along those lines. I wish the gap wasn't that big.
Is the last time that they had like real good above average players that seemed comparable? That's like the Rex Amir years, right? That's the last time?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a long time ago now.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2014, and I think I've said it on your show, because I fixate on this. When that team played Georgia, that is a good Georgia team, not the one where they beat them on the
one the year before when Georgia would have gone to the Natty if they would have beaten Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys, if you're bored, it's April. Go watch that game. I mean, and tell me that Nebraska hasn't dropped off considerably as a program. I mean,
dude, they have.
They have. That was a very good team that we took all of that for granted. It wasn't a great team, Nebraska team, but it pushed Georgia, a top 5 Georgia team, and it was Amir and Burkhead. Okay, and now just think about that for a second. And when you watch it, you can't help but think about it because it's in your face and it looks beautiful. Those guys could play now, and it wasn't just them. They had it. That was a good team. Not great, but it was very good. Very good.
Sip, I recently rewatched the Kansas State game, the Thursday nighter in 2010, and oh my gosh. I mean, just seeing the talent that they had all over the field on both sides of the ball. Levante David is in his first year. The running back room still has Halou and Burkhead. Taylor Martinez is a revelation with how fast he is. I mean, it's wild because it doesn't seem like it's that long ago, and yet it's 15 years now.
Right, and I don't mind having this. I think it's informative to do this for people to look back because that's where you got to get to still, and you're not there. You're just not there yet.
No, and a crazy thing.
I'd like to say you are, but you're not.
And it's focusing back again on running backs. You look at that period of time where you had Rex and Amir and then Roy Halou. That was kind of an island because directly before that, it wasn't great.
It was like Corey Ross, Brandon Jackson.
Right. And of course, after that is kind of what we're living in now.
Yeah.
And so when you go back to the year-to-year greatness, you're going back several years. So imagine if that, what is it, probably like a 5-ish year period where it was Rex and Amir and Roy. You take that out, and it's been over a generation since Nebraska had the kind of running game that, would threaten the word elite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, the only small issue I'd take with that summation is Ross and Jackson. Ross got really good late in his career.
Yeah, and I don't mean to make it sound like they were bad. I'm just saying elite.
Yeah. Yeah, Ross got NFL. I mean, he played in the NFL for appreciable time.
Yeah.
And Brandon Jackson was borderline elite. But no, I'm not pouring cold water on your assessment. Those two guys were pretty good. But after that, you had a Zico he ran for 1,000 in 2018. I mean, I guess the bottom line is you've only had one 1,000-yard rusher since Amir And that, at one point in our lifetime, was inconceivable that could happen. I mean, what are you talking about? They'd have one 1,000-yard rusher in 10 plus years.
That's crazy.
It's hard to imagine. And I can't emphasize enough how important that is in the broad discussion about Nebraska football.
Hey, so let's say that you're right. Let's say that they have an elite back. What does that do for the offense then? What does it mean if Emmett Johnson is able to reach, let's just say, that 1,200-yard threshold? I mean, that changes everything, doesn't it?
It does, Josh. And again, I think people forget almost how much impact that can have. And let's say he's a 1,400-yard rusher. Let's say he's Blake Corum. I mean, just for the fun of it and the impact that can have on an entire program, not just the offense. It has such wide-ranging impact. It takes, number one, in my mind, it takes a lot of pressure off Dylan.
Yeah.
Not that Dylan can't handle it, but think about how much more Dylan could flourish if you have that element clicking at a very high level. Okay, then it takes pressure off your play caller, obviously. It's not that hard to call plays like that. If your line's dominating and you've got a running back that can take advantage of it, we could call plays, honestly. And then it takes a lot of pressure off your first-year defensive coordinator. If you can consume time and establish that physicality on the offensive side of the ball, oh, God, it helps the defense a ton. It helps your specialists. He's not as much pressure on your specialists, on your special teams in general. It helps your AD a lot. It helps everybody. How's it help your AD? Well, you're trying to sell a stadium project. And Nebraska fans just love when that, how it is, when that line gets rolling and there's a running back gaining yards, we all feel better, right? I mean, that's just it's ingrained in us. It still is. And if they were to have this elite back, if they possibly do, and if they ever recruit one, you'll know it because it'll be a major story around here.
When you can pass, when you don't have to pass, that's the best
changes
kind.
Everything.
It's the best kind because
you just nail.
Yeah, when you can pass, when you don't have to pass. That's the perfect world for any play caller, for any offense. And your point about taking pressure off the defense, is so important because if you can ease into that a little bit, I've said for a long time, and it's not directly related to the running back, but I've always believed that a great offensive line can mask a lot of problems on a football team. It can make a good running back great. It can make an average quarterback good, and it can alleviate pressure on your defense because you can just grind clock, you can work the clock, you can possess the ball, you can play keep away, and if you've got that, everything else just falls into place.
Yeah, and your stadium loves it too.
This stadium would. There'd be cleanup in aisle 5 every Saturday if that's what it was like. Because as much as we love the running game around here,
because people would spill their popcorn.
Yes, because people would spill their popcorn and their Pepsis.
Yes.
And coming soon, their alcohol.
Nice.
So, it's all very intriguing to me.
Real quick, before we go, what would be the Nebraska equivalent to retiring Shedeur Sanders' number?
Oh, don't do this. I would say, oh, God, I'm not going to do this. I don't know if I can do this well or not.
Here's my suggestion. Joe Gans. Think about it. He set passing records just like Shedeur. He won about the same exact number of games as Shedeur in one less season. Joe Gans getting his number retired is like Shedeur getting his number retired. That's if the head coach's last name was also Gans.
Yeah, it needs to be. Yeah, or he changed his last name to Pelini.
I don't like to laugh because I respect Joe, and Joe had game. He was good.
No, that's not disrespect to Joe. I'm just putting it into context for how ridiculous I think this is.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I'm glad you said that though. steal it and use it on my radio show in the morning. Thank you.
So that's what you do. Instead of plagiarizing us in your articles, now you plagiarize on our own medium.
Come on.
Both. And I'll tell you, it has helped my career.
Nice.
Sipple's been able to. You know what, Sip? You can hold out for more NIL money now.
There we go. Good luck, Sip.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe one of you could even be my agent at some point.
Nice.
Hey, if it pays well, that's all I ask for.
Uh-huh.
Sip, we're going to miss you here at the ballpark. You know, back in the day, you might have come to a game like this.
Those
Nebraska,
days are
Creighton,
over.
in Omaha. Come on.
Those days are over.
Josh, why do you say that?
Well, because why would you go to a baseball game in April? First of all, you have a radio show tomorrow at 6 a.m., so you start there. Right. And second of all, it's baseball. You don't write about baseball.
Oh, stop it.
Unless they're good, and they're not this year. He ain't writing about them.
Josh pretty much nailed that whole stuff.
Yep.
If they're in the Big 12 right now, I'd be much more apt to do it.
Yeah. Those days are also
Isn't that
over.
interesting? That's what we said earlier.
You did. You said it earlier.
This series kind of lost a little bit of its steam when the two teams changed conferences. It hurt both baseball programs.
It did. It really did. And I don't know if Nebraska fans would agree, affected my interest level significantly. I didn't start voicing that until the last couple of years, but I kind of saw it, like it wasn't going to be the same. God, I say too much sometimes, but that's the way I feel. So it is.
No, I think you're exactly right, Sip.
Yeah.
People used to get fired up, mad and angry when Baylor or Texas would come into town or Oklahoma State.
And nobody cares about Rutgers.
They don't care when Rutgers or Northwestern is in town for baseball. They just don't.
Yeah, how about Augie coming into town? What was that like?
It was amazing.
R.I.P.
Right.
It was amazing. You had a lot of great programs that came in from the.
You're right. Oklahoma State. Now they weren't always great at those points. They were pretty good though. But you're right. Those Baylor teams. Baylor had a huge surge of strong teams. So yeah, it was different. It felt different.
Indeed, it did. All right, Sip. Appreciate it. Thank you, and have a good rest tonight, so you can steal more of our thoughts tomorrow on your radio show.
Nice.
Joe Gann, the equivalent. I will give you full credit, John. I will give you.
All right.
Credit.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, Sip.
Steve Sipple.
Bye, guys.